I'm in the middle of the 8th fairway here, just playing a quick 9 holes of golf, and while I've been out on the course I've been working on my swing plane. Now that's a common term in golf, but what does it really mean? The plane of the swing is ultimately the angle of the shaft and where it is throughout the swing, and we have a few reference points. So as I set up to the ball address here with a mid-iron and I take the club back halfway, the angle of this shaft here should pretty well mirror and match the angle that I had at my setup. If it was flatter, that would be a flat swing plane, at least in reference to the halfway back position. And if the butt of the club pointed down on a more vertical angle and closer to my toes, that would be a steeper, more vertical upright swing plane. But that's only half the story. Once I get to the top of the swing and start down, this is where we can tell the level of player that one is. So as I start my downswing and I get the shaft on plane here, that would be where I was at address. I've matched that position coming down. However, if I start down and get my shaft plane in a flatter angle here, as I come into the ball, I'm going to come in on the inside, but yet ultimately at impact you could term the fact that my shaft is more upright and I'm steep. What we tend to see with a lot of golfers is as they start down, their shaft plane gets too steep here, too vertical. You can see that angle there. It's deeper than where I started. Now, if I tend to do that, I'm coming on top of the ball, I'm over the top of it, tend to put a lot of spin on the shot. Swing plane can be complex because it's not all one plane that you're in. You're neither a flat swing plane swinger or an upright swing plane swinger. However, there are some players that swing beautifully on plane. They're able to go back and come down, and you could just draw this beautiful line on their shaft the whole time, and they're able to be matched throughout the swing. That's obviously the best way to be. You'd have the most success with your straightness of your shots and your consistency of your strike. I can think of other players though that whip the club head inside, their swing plane is flat going back, and then usually what happens is their downswing is different than that as the club balances and now gets steep. So they have the complexities of a flat swing and a steep swing. And then there's guys like Jim Furyk who swings a little bit more upright with his arms and with his club, and yet he shallows the club beautifully, and no one could argue that he's a very consistent player. So how do you find your swing plane? Probably one of the easiest and simple ways to do it. You just take a swing with one arm only. So I've just got my right hand off the club here, left hand on only, and if I swing correctly, the club actually finds its balance point. If I swung flat, I can feel the club is much heavier now. This is in a heavy position, and if I swing a little bit too vertical here, I can just sense that it's almost like there's no weight in the club at all. So just if I allow it, I can get the club right on track, right on plane. And if I do that correctly, I can go back and come down, and I'm just ever so gently going to just brush the grass, because really it's the club is finding its own balance point. It's finding its own position where it needs to be. You can even do that with the right hand only. Watch this, I swing back, the club's just right on track and through. And I like to use the term track more than plane because I think one can get too confused. All I'm trying to do is get this shaft to match and be in a track throughout the swing. Swing plane, good track, it's all the same thing. So let's give it a try here. Let's see if I can make a swing and stay close to being on plane throughout it. I'm going to set the club, that's the angle I want halfway back. That would be the top. Rematch it coming down, turn through, stay in plane and on track throughout the swing. Yep, that was absolutely, felt beautiful. It's gone right at the flag. Just to recap, it's very important to understand what swing plane is. Don't get confused by it. Simply put, you're trying to get the shaft to match its position from address to halfway back, and most importantly, from the top of the swing to halfway down. Once you can get a picture in your mind and understand swing plane, you're going to be a lot more consistent in your game.